everyone, it's me, Diane Russell, and I have lost a notebook that has all my notes to my screenplays, to my future novellas and series, and I'm really super bummed out about it. So it's kind of made me go back in time to my first novel, and I'm reading through it, and I'm having such a good time reading all these stories that I wrote. One in particular is my favorite, called The Brothers of Magic County, and I wrote that 2 years ago. And it's in my novel, Dreaming Awake, which is a book of random stories that I wrote over the years. So I'm going to just do a little, read a couple paragraphs, and maybe just have a little fun, try to pitch it a little bit. I don't know, just whatever. Maybe I'm bored. I don't know. So here it is, and thank you for listening. Living in a small town is a dream come true for many. Small towns mean less crime, less traffic, and it's quiet. A retiree could live a very nice life in the comforts of the quiet of a small town. It's easy to get to know your neighbors and attend community functions. Small children could also benefit from the small town life, taking walks in the cool summer air to fetch an ice cream cone with a friend, bonfires in the country to beer and friends, shutting down the center of town for a street picnic, or just taking an evening stroll with friends. Living in a small town is wonderful, unless you're a member of the Union family. This is the story of a family with a bad reputation for trouble. In a little town called Magic, it was anything but. The reputation of the Union family started with the family of Joe Union, who married his high school sweetheart Bonnie. Joe was troubled since the day he was born. Raised by an abusive alcoholic father, Joe was born into a troubled family. As he grew up, he tried to find attention in the only way he knew how, and that's by causing trouble. He started out with little things like stealing a kid's bicycle and breaking windows. By the age of 14, he was making several visits in front of the judge for fighting in possession of cigarettes and knives. Joe didn't feel peace or loved until the day he met Bonnie James. Joe had sneaked out of class to catch a cigarette behind the dumpsters. He pulls out a cigarette and realizes his lighter was out of fluid. "Shit," he says, as he's in a frustrated tone. He hears footsteps and a voice. "Need a light?" Walking towards him is a beautiful young girl with long blonde hair. Joe stares directly into her face, and his heart begins to pound. Bonnie is holding a lighter up to Joe, and she laughs. "Are you going to light it up or not?" Joe was too stunned by her beauty to notice the lighter. "Oh, yeah, sorry," Joe says as he lights a cigarette off of Bonnie's lighter. Joe takes a puff of his cigarette, and he relaxes. That very day started a long love affair. Bonnie wasn't a terrible teen, but she was getting into some trouble for fighting. Bonnie was being raised by a foster parent, and she too had searched for some peace and love in her life. Bonnie and Joe were perfect for each other, and they complemented each other so well. Both blonde and attractive, Joe saw his future children in her eyes. Nothing could come between their love, and Joe had settled down a bit. They had a plan to get married as soon as they were 18 and out of the court system. As life moved on, Bonnie and Joe got married at the age of 19. They had their first child, who they named Mitchell Union, but called him Mitch. Life got too clean and uncomfortable for Joe. He went back to his old ways and got busted for stealing cars. This led to a series of terrible acts that led to Joe running out on his wife and son. He'd come back sometimes, but it was never a happy reunion. Bonnie couldn't handle the stress of making ends meet. She started drinking and taking pills. Bonnie and Joe had years of toxic relationship as they brought and 2 more children, Matt and Brad Union. After Brad turned 10 years old, Bonnie split. In the middle of the night, she packed a bag and left her children sometime during the night. No note, no warning, no sign. Their mother was gone. Mitch, Matt, and Brad were officially alone. This was going to be hard to keep silent in their small town, especially with a bad reputation sitting on their shoulders. This is a story about brothers, love, and being faithful. A story about being there for each other and doing what you need to do to survive. This is the story of brothers.